Daddy's Sex Talk. I'm a gay, white, cisgender leatherman currently completing a postgraduate program in human sexuality at Widener University. And on this channel, I answer your questions about gay male sex and sexuality in a sex-positive, fact-based manner. The question I'm addressing today and in my next few videos is, how do I know if I'm gay? Every gay man has had to ask himself this question at some point along their journey of self-discovery. As the adoption of a gay identity is a life-changing decision, my daddy advice to you is to not be so quick to jump to, I'm gay.
I'm gay!
He's gay!
He's gay!
He's gay! Did you hear the music?
When I was wrestling with the question of, am I gay, and what feels like a lifetime ago, I assumed that sexual orientation was a binary. You were either straight or gay. There was the option of identifying as bisexual, but the only people I saw adopting this label at the time were women and Elton John. Although human sexuality professionals like me do now recognize the validity of a bisexual identity, at the time I was trying to determine my sexual orientation. If a man identified as bisexual, it was commonly assumed he was trying to deny his true gay identity. I knew this with 100% certainty that I was not straight. So I ultimately had no choice but to identify as gay. Now, I am exceptionally proud of my identity as a gay man and what I have accomplished in this world with that label. But if I had known then what I know now about the spectrums of sex and sexual orientation, I cannot say for certain I would come to the same conclusion. I may have spent more time exploring my options for identity before placing myself in a particular box with a specific self-defining label. We'll talk more about the power and restrictions of labels in another episode, but let's assume for the moment that you are simply interested in determining if gay is the most accurate identity for yourself. To begin with, regardless of what you may have heard before, there is no DNA test, psychological profile, mannerism, speaking style, sexual activity preference, or any combination of these that can say with 100% accuracy whether someone is gay. And no one else's gaydar is going to correctly determine your identity. It's also worth noting that a gay identity is much more than simply sexual orientation. Gay can also encompass politics, religion, spirituality, socializing, and entertainment, among many other facets of an identity. It is indeed a complex identity to hold. It's a journey of self-exploration to answer the question of whether you are gay for yourself. What may be helpful to start answering the question may be adding to the language that we use to discuss sex and sexuality. We can't know whether or not we are something unless we've heard of that thing and know what it means. So, for this episode, we are going to explore some basic terminology when discussing sexual orientation and sexual identity. Here are some common prefixes that appear in those discussions: hetero, homo, bi, pan, and a. There are more, but we are just going to focus on these for now. And bear in mind that there are shadings around these terms that we will dive into in later videos. Consider this your elementary introduction to sexual orientation language. Hetero, as a scientific term, means other. In sexuality, this is used to indicate the relationship between a male or female and the other gender, and assumes that gender is a binary where you are either a male or female. I think it is worth noting at this point that someone's sex is related to their physical characteristics at birth, and gender is related to their identity, expression, and societal role. Homo means same when applied scientifically. So when homo is used to discuss sexuality, it refers to the relationship between a male or female with someone of the same gender. This would be a male-male or female-female relationship in the traditional usage of this prefix, and like hetero, assumes a gender binary. Bi literally means two, and when used as a prefix for words related to human sexuality, refers to individuals of any gender in relation to both binary genders, male and female. Pan as a prefix indicates all. This prefix is used to refer to someone of any gender along the gender spectrum in relation to a person of any gender along that spectrum. It has been used interchangeably with omni and is not attached to gender as either male or female. That brings us to a as a prefix. A in scientific terms means not or without. This prefix in human sexuality generally refers to the absence of relationship to another person in a particular respect, which is clarified by the suffix following it. Speaking of suffixes, it is time to cover a few of those. We're going to take a quick look at 3 of them that may help answer the question of how can I tell if I'm gay? Those suffixes are social, romantic, and sexual. Basically, social indicates who or what you want to hang out with. What do you exclusively want your friends and associates to be? Romantic as a suffix indicates who or what are your emotional, intimate objects of affection. What would you make dreamy eyes and kissy faces at? This does not mean that you necessarily want to have sex with them. Finally, sexual indicates what things turn someone's libido on as a real or fantasized sex partner. This does not mean that you would actually have sex with them or want to be romantically attached to them. It is simply what specific thing gets your sexual motor running. So now we have some prefixes and suffixes that will help us in this discussion. Let's put a few together and see what we get. Someone that is heterosocial prefers the company of members of the opposite gender with whom to hang out, chat, play games, or other non-sexual or non-romantic activities. A homosocial person, on the other hand, would prefer to participate in these activities with others that share their gender. A biromantic person would like to develop intimate relationships with people of both binary genders, but does not necessarily want to have sex or fantasize about sex with them. A pan-romantic person would not have a preference of gender or sex when picking another person with whom to spend a romantic evening, but not necessarily want to have sex with. And for a final example, asexual people would not be sexually attracted to anyone, regardless of gender or sex. But it doesn't necessarily mean they wouldn't want to have a romantic relationship with someone. That would be aromantic. Now, all three suffixes can be applied to anyone with any combination of prefixes. For example, someone could be heterosocial, heteroromantic, and heterosexual, and someone else could be asocial, biromantic, and pansexual. This makes one of the questions we must answer before, how do I know if I'm gay? What combination of these words equals gay? Since gay is traditionally associated with same-gender relationships, we must assume one of the defining words is going to have to start with homo. Is it one of the suffixes social, romantic, or sexual? If so, which one is a direct correlation to gay? Is it a combination of more than one? If we need at least two, which two are they? Or is it all three? If someone is a pansocial, heteroromantic homosexual, is that gay? How about the homosocial, aromantic bisexual? Is it gay to be an asocial, homoromantic heterosexual? Are multiple combinations gay? And if so, which ones? Are there degrees of gay? Which combination is the gayest? Why is it gayer?
What's the matter, Pop? I'm confused.
If this all strikes you as confusing, it most certainly can be, and there is no commonly accepted factors that compose the basis of a gay identity. To determine if you are gay, you probably should have a clear idea of what that word means before you even start thinking about adopting the label. And if someone asks you if you are gay, maybe you should ask them for their definition before you answer. I'll include the terms we covered in the video description for easier reference. I'll also include a link to my podcast where I discuss the subject with a couple of guests. I will also have a few more videos coming up to dive deeper into the gay identity so that you can be better prepared to answer, how do I know if I'm gay, for yourself. Thanks for watching this episode of Daddy Sex Talk. Again, my name is Daddy Rob, and I'm here to answer your questions about gay male sex and sexuality. If you have any questions you would like me to answer in future videos, leave a comment below. Please feel free to like and subscribe if you have found this information useful, and click the bell to be notified for future videos. If you want to contact me elsewhere, I am at the Daddy Rob on Twitter, or email me at daddyrob@daddyrob.com. Thank you for spending this time with me, and remember that you are the most amazing person in the universe, and your daddy loves you. See you next time.